From past interviews we've had here on the radio is that human trafficking and sex trafficking is going on all across the country, including right here in St. Louis. We know that Highway 70 is a major corridor throughout the country. There is a new documentary, a new expose, a new news story about it. Alice Brennan joins us, ABC News and Fusion correspondent. Good morning, Alice Brennan. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, McGraw. Thank you for having me.
You got it. First of all, tell us when and where we can find this story.
Yes, fusion.net/Pimp City. It's on the internet. So that's fusion.net/Pimp City.
And this is in conjunction with ABC News?
It is. Fusion is one of ABC News' new ventures. We're based out of Miami, and we target young people.
What did you find out? Tell us about this.
Okay, so we found out that there is this one region in Mexico called Tlaxcala, 2 hours south of Mexico City, small, safe state. Nowhere else in the world sends more sex slaves to the U.S. than this one place called Tlaxcala, and at the center of that, a town called Tenancingo.
You go and you basically go undercover, do you not?
We don't go undercover. It's hard to go undercover in Mexico as a blonde female, but we did travel to this town, and we tried to confront some of the sex traffickers in the town, and eventually we were chased out of the town. There were 4 of us filming there, and on the day of Carnival, and we won't be going back to Tenancingo, I can tell you that much.
Alice, explain to us, how are these girls as young as 12 years old taken from their homes in the U.S., and how do they end up in Mexico?
It's the other way around, McGrath. They're plucked from parks and their homes in Mexico. These pimps called Romeos find them, they seduce them, they promise them a life of marriage and a life of love. They force them into prostitution where they have to see up to 60 men a day, and they traffic them to places in the United States, to New York, to Miami, to Atlanta, all the way up the West Coast. I'm sure there are women from Tenancingo and Tlaxcala in St. Louis as well.
And so they just stay at a hotel? They stay in a room? Explain that part of it.
Well, I'll tell you how it happens. They rent out small houses in suburban areas. When we were doing this documentary, we traveled to Queens, New York. We were walking along what seemed like an ordinary street opposite a school, and there were small houses. They just looked like normal houses to us, and behind those closed doors there were brothels being operated. There were women being held captive and forced to see men at 15-minute increments, $35 each client.
How much?
$35 for 15 minutes.
Who are the Johns? Who are the men who are basically the creating this crime?
Look, the men are your average American man. We found that there was no sort of racial distinction as to who the clients were. Often they were between the ages of 18 and 45. But, without the Johns, there is no industry. So an emphasis has to be placed on the men of the United States to be responsible, to not buy into these services.
It's so sad and so devastating. We hear, you're saying these are Mexican women. We're hearing that there are also American women as well getting caught up in this. Did you find that?
We did. That's another story altogether. The internal sex trafficking throughout the United States is super pervasive. It's super dominant. It's a $99 billion a year industry, McGrath. It's huge. It's the third most profitable illicit industry in the world after drugs and counterfeiting. It's incredibly pervasive. No one actually knows how many sex slaves there are in the United States. There could be 4,000. There could be 100,000. These are both foreign trafficked women and women who are trafficked internally as well.
How does the word get out? How does somebody in America know that there's a house somewhere in town where they go and can visit and find these women?
Look, one of the ways that the sex traffickers get the word out is they put advertisements in the back of newspapers. They have this other system called chica cards. So men stand outside subway stations and train stations and bus stops, and they hand out cards, often actually advertising children's birthdays or flower arrangements. But what's on there is a telephone number where these men can call and order the services of women. So I guess if you are a man and you want these services, you'll find the services one way or another.
Alice Brennan is with ABC News and Fusion. This documentary is called Pimp City, A Journey to the Center of the Sex Slave Trade. Alice, explain to people where they can go to see this.
Yeah, fusion.net/Pimp City is the website. So if they go there, they'll find a full presentation with a 43-minute documentary as well as a written article and additional visual pieces as well.
So sad. Alice Brennan, thank you very much for spending some time with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
You got it. 7:28 here, Big 5.